Good afternoon everyone. So thank you for having me here. Ini sesi terakhir tapi semoga masih pada semangat ya because we will play lots of ads and also we will learn more towards creative. So I'm Hani from Kantar. I'm leading the creative solution in Kantar Insight Indonesia. And as I mentioned, so today we will talk a lot about how to push the boundaries of creative during Ramadan. So in Kantar, as we are the expert of creative, so we have done lots of tests about ads, and we'll gather some insights around that. And especially for Ramadan, every year we did like syndicated learnings. So we asked to 1,000 consumers about what are the Ramadan ads that they remember, and also what are the Ramadan ads that they love. And based on that, this deck is made. Finally, we kind of understand on what are the type of Ramadan ads that can break the mold. So if we refer back to like a couple of years ago, so how many of us actually seeing ads where if it's about family, like the mother is going to pasar atau misalnya kayak the father is going to work and kids like doing the playing the playground, so it's very, very typical. But during Ramadan, ads are breaking the boundaries. So brands and marketers are competing to steal audience attention because that's the moment where they spend the most, typically. Likewise, like globally, we talk a lot about like Christmas ads, and especially in the US, it's Super Bowl ads. So indeed, that festive moment is the time for you to actually break the boundaries. And Indonesia is specific, so if we kind of flashback, kayak ada yang pernah ingat nggak? So if we have this kind of clues, ada Star Wars, and then, you know, panci raksasa, udang. Is there anyone remember what kind of ads it is? A couple of years back? Yep. Yeah, so those ads not really like 1 year back. Some of those ads like 5 years back, but I see some of you nodding, meaning that those kind of ads really, you know, breaking the clutter and make people remember, even though it's been years when it's launched. And when talking about ads, it's not only about the creative side, but ads actually also mirroring consumer sentiment. So if we refer back to like 2019, we have election. And during those times, typically brands and marketers are talking about how people make choices or how community divided into groups, and how even though we tend to choose different person in politics, but we are into one community. And then we faced pandemic in 2020. So the whole advertising landscape has changed, right? So brands and marketers adopt towards the pandemic theme situation. It's about isolation, and even in Ramadan, typically it's not showing people buka bersama or silaturahmi. It's more towards like connecting in a digital world. And then starting from last year, it's moving towards a new normal. So it's another landscape or another evolving Ramadan ads. But then when we talk about Ramadan, I think many of the speakers previously also mentioned that it's also about values that being stay. So in Ramadan always there is a mudik element, celebrations, silaturahmi, and then buka bersama, of course, helping others is about kindness, forgiveness. So even when ads or brands or marketers change their landscape of advertising or change their execution, but actually those kind of values remain. However, so we believe, and in Kantar, again, we have gathered some insight that ads that more revolutionary or brave in terms of delivering different side of execution, they can like break the mold, of course, but also having a stronger affinity amongst consumers, meaning that ads that have a unique way of conveying those Ramadan values, they can be remembered even after years and finally being loved by consumers, and it will be very, very impactful in the long term. So let's have a look on some of the inspirations. So here I highlight like how is the most loved Ramadan ad evolved throughout the year. So there is love and evolving. The first one is about a mudik element. So we understand that when brands or marketers are talking about mudik, typically the scene or the kind of ad that being showcased are the journey. Kayak misalnya mobil punya banyak koper, and then the family is going together, it's a long road, and then maybe going to kampung, ketemu teman-teman lama, or ketemu keluarga besar. So those kind of typical mudik that being showcased, right? And once we see those kind of element, oh, we know that it's Ramadan ad. But it's very templated, like it's boring. So what kind of homecoming or mudik theme that consumers love? So anyone remember on this one? Yang anak pakai kumis? Do you know? Yeah, I see some of them nodding. So this ad is belong to Matahari. So ada anak kecil. So he's longing for his father, and then he wears a fake mustache. So he act like his father along the day because he's very want to meet his father. And when we talk about homecoming, it means that it's not always about the journey of mudik itself. Yes, mudik adalah pulang kampung, but then the emotional anchor is to meet someone we love. And that kind of emotional lens is rarely presented in a very unique way. Another example is last year we have Downy ad, belonged to Kaawan previously. And it's also again showcased like how the homecoming theme can actually be portrayed in a very emotional way. So it's like felt, not being spoken in a literal way. So let's watch Downy ad so that you can get a sense on what we meant by how can we showcase the emotional anchor of homecoming.
Kok aku pakai baju bagus?
Kan ini lebaran pertama, Pak.
Kok banyak makanan, Bu?
Kan lebaran, Pak.
Assalamualaikum. Pak. Dari siapa, Nak?
Ramadan ini, rasakan kekuatan sebuah pelukan dengan orang tersayang.
Yep, so it's the theme is power of hug, in which it showcased like after pandemic where people cannot go mudik for a couple of years and finally meet the loved ones. Typically, it's all about celebration, but this ad really showcased like how it can be very emotionally touch a consumer's heart. Sorry. Oops. Another symbol of Ramadan is kindness. So I think we know that Ramadan is the right time to do good deeds and also giving to others. But then, this one. But then typically, the way brands and marketers portray, it's always like going back to the roots of having extravagant charity. Like, for example, giving to orphanage or doing charity with friends. And yeah, that kind of ads work, but again, it's templated. So lots of brands already doing that. But then, Ramadan is not always about the grandiose act of kindness. So it's also about the simple act of kindness, something that people can do every day. Like for example, orang nggak ke panti asuhan setiap minggu gitu ya. Sometimes there is a moment of people where they do a good deeds. But then simple act of kindness here means that something that people can do every day, and it's also closest to the ones that they're living with. Like for example, a couple of years back, Pro Cheese ad, they showcase like how a family helping the household assistant to go mudik because she doesn't have money to meet the family. So it's something that, or it's a lens that rarely portrayed because again, typically brands want to portray in the larger scale of charity. Another very, very good example is this ad from McD. So it's a very down to earth, it's very grounded. Let's watch this ad and see how we can get inspiration.
Sebentar lagi waktu berbuka puasa.
Kita hanya tetangga, tapi perhatian kalian benar-benar kayak keluarga.
Kakek sholat tarawih yuk. So again, it's very emotionally touching the heart. So the ad is talking about the neighbor yang nggak punya keluarga untuk bertemu gitu ya ketika Ramadan. And it's one of the most loved Ramadan ad last year actually from McD. So talking about Ramadan, aside from the symbols or quotes which all about kindness and also forgiveness, we also needs to be authentic. Authentic here means sometimes or oftentimes brands and marketers they tend to avoid showcasing something that being like difficult emotion or vulnerability or even struggle in achieving something. And during Ramadan itself, fasting is one big element. So typically brands or marketers, they tend to showcase like fasting is a celebration, it's a self-control, it's introspection. So biasanya di showcase dengan positive way karena there is a belief that okay, so because Ramadan is a holy month, so it's a bit tabu buat nunjukin kalau sebenarnya susah loh puasa itu. So lapar haus actually real. But then there is an ad from Coke, so they brave enough to showcase that the struggle is real. So Ramadan is not always about the fun, also not about like the holy thing, but there is a tension there, and every person faces it. So this ad is really, really unique because aside from showcasing tension, but at the same time the ad also infuse humor. So to break that taboo atau sensitive topic, so humor can like tone down a little bit or make it relatable that, oh yes, that's also me. So let's watch the ad to get some inspiration as well.
Hai guys, apa iya sih bulan puasa itu penuh ujian? Pagi jadi mageran, siang jadi lebih panas, dan waktu jalan lebih lama. Nyatanya lulus ujian puasa emang nyegerin banget, kayak minum Sprite habis buka. Sprite nyatanya nyegerin, tapi kalau udah buka.
Yeah, so what makes it unique, actually again it's really, really brave to showcase kayak starving for something refreshing during Ramadan. Dan itu benar-benar terjadi sebenarnya, but rarely brands are doing that. So still within the authentic element, and as I mentioned, so the tension is real, not only like being like within the self introspection or self-control, but also with other people. In Ramadan, forgiveness is one of the value or symbol. And typically, the forgiveness itself is being showcased, and again in a very positive way, kayak reconnect with old family, old friends, or like far family members. But then sometimes or many times in reality, kadang-kadang orang tuh punya masalah gitu ya. So there is a difficult emotion or uncomfortable situation even within the family members, and this ad from P&G, so regardless that the ad actually showcase again the side of uncomfortable relationship between a mother and the child, people love it because it's again relatable. They can relate to it, it's relevant and it's real, but it's being showcased in a very beautiful manner. So let's watch the ad.
Kasih ibu kepada beta tak terhingga sepanjang masa, hanya memberi tak harap kembali, bagai sang surya menyinari dunia.
Saat ini kita masih menunggu hasil quick count atau hitung cepat pemilihan umum 2019 yang sudah selesai dilaksanakan di seluruh Indonesia. Saat ini hasil dari tiap-tiap TPS mulai masuk satu persatu dan sebentar lagi kita bisa melihat perolehan suara sementara baik dari pasangan.
Hanya memberi tak harap kembali.
Bu, maafin aku ya, Bu banyak salah sama Ibu.
Iya sayang, kamu itu masih bayi ibu.
Bagai sang surya menyinari dunia.
So that's one of the example on how ads actually can break the clutter through showcasing the difficult part of emotion. So that's really beautiful ads couple of years back. So enough talking about something serious. So in Ramadan, aside from the serious theme ad and like emotionally heavy ads, but some brands take a different route or different approach. So some brands opt for the fun, light-hearted theme, and that can also work. Like humor, something that Indonesian loved as long as it's relevant, can also help brands and marketers to break the clutter. So if you remember this Ramayana ad, mungkin banyak dari kita yang ingat ya, ibu-ibu pakai rebana dan yang kepalanya di rice cooker. So it's a very viral ad at that time, couple of years back. So and this ad really kind of setting the trend at that time, like nostalgic trend. It's very viral and they love it. I mean, consumer love it regardless of that. They make it fun of Ramadan. So typically kalau orang atau ibu-ibu pakai rebana, it's like a holy thing. But Ramayana make it like something fun. Another example is from Gojek. So we know that Gojek always showcase of light-hearted and fun ads. And this Ramadan ad from Gojek also break the clutter a couple of years back. So let's watch it.
Banyak orang bilang berbuat baik itu susah. Pengen bantuin ibu yang kelelahan bersihin rumah di bulan puasa, sewa mobil kebersihan, susah. Mau berbagi bukaan untuk warga sekitar, masak pakai wajan raksasa, susah. Ingin bantu panti yang berjauhan, kirim pakai parasut, susah. Pas mau transfer THR ke sanak saudara, nunggu antrian lama, susah. Ayah mau ke pengajian, bannya kempes, ditiup pakai selang, susah. Kebaikan memang tidak pernah salah, tapi bisa lebih mudah dengan aplikasi Gojek.
Untuk yang ini mohon adegan yang biasa saja. agar penonton mudah mencerna.
Bantu ibu bersihin rumah pakai GoClean, mudah. Pesan GoFood untuk buka bersama, mudah. Kirim sumbangan pakai GoSend, mudah. Kirim THR ke sanak saudara pakai GoPay, mudah. Pesan GoRide untuk antar ayah ke pengajian, mudah. Begitu banyak inspirasi kebaikan lainnya di aplikasi Gojek.
Gimana Pak Ustadz? Apakah adegannya sudah cukup informatif?
Untuk ending, bolehlah kasih lebay dikit.
Mudah-mudahan membawa manfaat dan keberkahan. Amin.
So it's showing like Ramadan celebration in a very, very different way. So Ramadan is also about tension. Buka bersama is fun, but the preparation is hard. Cleaning up the house, it's not something that people like, even though like the silaturahmi is very being loved. So due to time constraint, maybe I just jump towards another fine, light-hearted sense of advertising. Aside from humor, actually ads and brands can do some cinematography, music, fantasy, so some other executional elements that can help the ads to break the clutter. Lots of great examples, like I think earlier we saw Grab with its Star Wars theme. We also saw Pocari Sweat doing something differently last year. But today maybe we would like to see iconic Marjan ad. We all know that they always break the clutter with very, very astonishing cinematography. Oops.
Hasil panen berlimpah dan dijaga. Pasukan hama datang untuk menjarah. Tapi kali ini Dewi Sri siap menghadang. Kala Wereng membawa senjata andalannya, Wereng terbang yang hendak menghisap panen tanpa sisa. Dengan segenap kekuatan, Dewi Sri melancarkan serangan pamungkas, mengusir kejahatan dan mengembalikan kedamaian. Marjan, rayakan kemenangan.
Yeah, and that's the last ad. So I will not repeat again what we have discussed, but maybe this year we will wait many brands breaking the clutter in a very different way. So those are just inspirations. So be authentic, be emotional, be different, be unique, and be brave in showcasing tension. That's it from Kantar. So again, we will wait for you to push the boundaries this year. Thank you for having me.
Put your hands together, Miss HANI from Kantar. Thank you so much. Thank you for also showing us these amazing campaigns. They're so creative, and I think all of you are just different kind of people, you know, like pushing out boundaries and just going at it and creating something that's truly amazing. Can we have another round of applause for HANI? And of course, we also want to have a round of applause for all of the speakers that have been enlightening us with their sessions. Thank you so much. But since Ms. Shanti is already up, we would like to invite her on stage. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as the country head and board of Director MMA Global Indonesia, for her closing remarks, please give it up.